year or more time. Suppose किसी time में, if can you imagine what would happen if it does not rain for a year or a more? Suppose you imagine what would happen if it does not rain for a year. मानो सालों तक अगर बारिश नहीं होती तो what will happen? The soil continues to lose water by evaporation and transpiration. So the soil will lose water by two phenomena. First is evaporation and second is transpiration. So soil loses and with the help of transpiration. Since it is not being brought back by the rain. So suppose किसी भी एरिया में अगर बारिश नहीं होती तो सोइल पानी लूज कर रही है और वो वापस रेन की फॉर्म में नहीं आ रहा, तो सोइल कैसे बन जाती है हमारी? ड्राई. Soil becomes dry. Then soil becomes dry. So you have to remember, when it does not rain for in a region, the soil becomes dry. The level of water in ponds and wells of the region goes down. If it in an area no rain occurs, the level of the water goes down. Level of the water in ponds goes down. The level of wells in that region goes down. And also groundwater may also become scarce. Groundwater की जो availability है वो भी कम हो जाती है. And these may lead to drought. And this is called drought. So what do you mean by drought? So what do you mean by drought? This is the condition when no rain, it does not for a long period of time occurs, then it may lead to drought. अगर किसी भी an area it does not rain for a long period of time, this will may lead to एरिया में अगर बारिश नहीं होती है तो क्या बढ़ जाता है? effects of drought. First is soil becomes dry. Second is the level of water in the wells of the region goes down. This is second. And ground water of drought. So what are the effects of what do you mean by drought? When no rainfall occurs, when no rainfall occurs, then this type of condition is called drought. So this type of condition is called drought. And what are the effects of drought? And what are the effects of drought? First is soil becomes dry. Second is the level of water in the ponds and wells of the region goes down. This is third effect. Next is the groundwater may also become scarce. तो हमारे जो जब सूखा पड़ता है तो क्या क्या हो जाता है? सोइल ड्राई हो जाती है, जो वाटर का लेवल है वो बिल्कुल डाउन हो जाता है और जो ग्राउंड वाटर है उसकी अवेलेबिलिटी भी कम हो जाती है. And so these are the effects of drought. In drought conditions, it is difficult to get food and fodder. When drought occurs, it is difficult to obtain food and fodder. You might have heard about the droughts occurring in some parts of our country or the world. So as we know, when drought occurs, the food availability becomes less. Are you aware of the difficulty faced by the people living in these? और क्या-क्या difficulties आती हैं? क्या आपने face की हैं? Animals and vegetation in these conditions. When drought comes, animals and what are the effects on vegetation and animals? Vegetation become poor and animal life become less. Try and find out about these by talking to your parents and neighbors and by reading about it from newspaper and magazine. So you can observe the effects of drought on animals and vegetation, and you can find this information from the newspaper and magazines. So, in the last topic, what we have studied, what if it rains heavily? अगर किसी जगह अगर बहुत ज्यादा बारिश होती है तो क्या हो जाता है? तो then flood comes. Then flood comes when in an area rains come. When in an area rains come, then what are the effects? So then the flood comes. When it rains heavily, then the flood comes. And on what factors the amount of rainfall depends. So amount of rainfall depends place to place. So it depends on place to place. On what factor rainfall depends? It varies from place to place. In some places it is heavy. In some places it is very less. So amount of rainfall depend place place. So next is in our country, most of the rainfall occurs during the monsoon season. So as we know, mostly rainfall occurs in the monsoon season. So this rain comes, then these collects the water, and when this is in excess, it is called flood. Excess of water, this called flood. Excess of water, and this is called flood. And so in our country, mostly rainfall in the monsoon season. Rains bring relief. अगर गर्मियों के बाद बारिश होती है तो it brings relief. And the sowing of many crops depends on the arrival of monsoon. जब मानसून होता है तभी बहुत सारी क्रॉप्स हम उगाते हैं. However, excess of rainfall may lead to a problem, and this is called flood. And what are the effects of flood? So this is an area, a flooded area. When then excess water is collected here, then these lead to a flooded area. So next is, what are the effects of flood? Animal life is affected, and also the animal living in the water, the life of water animal is also affected. And the crowfish, forest, villages and cities, they get submerged by the water. So what are the effects of flood? First is damage of crops. Second is damage of domestic animals and property and human life. So what are the effects of flood? First is damage to crops. and destroying life of domestic animal and property and human life. And during flood, the animals living in the water also get carried with the water, and they often get trapped on the land areas and die when flood water recedes. When flood comes, the animal living in the water, suppose in the animal in the water, animals live, and when flood comes, then these animal also get carried with the water. जब फ्लड आता है, जो एनिमल्स इसमें रह रहे होते हैं वो भी पानी के साथ बह जाते हैं, और when they often get trapped on the land area and then die when flood water recedes. जब फ्लड का वाटर खत्म होता है, इससे पहले ही वो उनकी डेथ हो जाती है, so they die because of the flood. So animal living in these area, in this water, they die because of flood water, because of flood water. So what are the effects of flood? So first question is, what do you mean by flood? So what do you mean by flood? The condition of excessive water, collecting of excessive water is called flood. And what are the effects of flood? First is damage to crops. Second is damage of destroying life of domestic animals and destroying property and human life. And these are the effects of flood. So next is when it does not rain for a long period of time. जब बहुत ज़्यादा बारिश नहीं, बिल्कुल बारिश नहीं होती, तो these lead to a condition, and this is called drought. When no rainfall occurs in an area, then this is called drought. So this is called drought. When no rainfall occurs in an area, it does not rain in region, then these may lead to drought. And what are the effects of drought? First is soil become dry. Second is level of water in the ponds and well goes down. And third is groundwater may also become scarce. So these are the effects of drought. So you learn the effects of drought and effects of flood. Next topic is how can we conserve water? Only a small fraction of water is available on the earth is fit for use of plants and animals and humans. As we know, on the earth's surface, suppose this is our earth, on the earth's surface, mostly water is available in the ocean, and we can't use it for the drinking. Why we cannot use it for the drinking? Because it is saline in nature. हम जो ocean, mostly हमारा water कहाँ पे है? Ocean में, और ocean का जो water है वो पीने के लिए fit नहीं होता. Most of the water is in ocean and it cannot be used by directly. So we can't use it directly. When the level of the groundwater decreases drastically, these cannot be used anymore. As we know, groundwater is fit for suitable for drinking, and if we use it daily, and then the groundwater level decreases drastically. अगर हम groundwater बहुत ज़्यादा use करेंगे, तो उसका जो level है वो decrease हो जाएगा. And these cannot be used anymore. And the total amount of water on the earth remains the same, but the water availability for use is very limited and decreasing with over usage. As we know, when we take excess of groundwater, the level of groundwater decreases gradually. And as we know, the total amount of water on the earth is same, but the water availability for use is very limited. So as we know, on the earth surface, the water quantity is same, but its availability is less. The demand for increasing day by day. As we know, the water demand is increasing day by day. Why it is increasing? Because of population. Because of population, it is increasing day by day. Demand of water is increasing day by day because of more population. The number of people using water is increasing with rising population. In many cities, long queue for collection of water are a common sight. बड़ी बड़ी जगह में जो बड़ी बड़ी लाइनें लगी होती हैं पानी कलेक्ट करने के लिए, this is very common. And also more and more water is being used for producing food and by the industries. As we know, mostly water is used for producing food and in the industries. More water is used for producing food and also it is used by the industries. So availability demand of water is increasing because of population, and as we know, number of people using the water is increasing with increasing population. So its demand is increasing, and the fee for collection of water, it is very common. We can see the long queue for collecting the water. So this is the queue for collecting water. This is very common in some areas. And when more water is used for producing food and for in the industries, these factors are leading to the shortage of water. अगर हम खाना बनाने में और इंडस्ट्रीज में ज्यादा वाटर यूज करते हैं तो हमारी वाटर की शॉर्टेज हो जाती है. Hence, it is very important that water is used carefully. So we use the water very carefully. We should not waste water. And what are the ways of conserving water? First method is rainwater harvesting. So what are the ways of conserving water? First is rainwater harvesting. So what do you mean by rainwater harvesting? So one way of increasing the availability of water is to collect rainwater and store it for later use. अगर हम बारिश के पानी को कलेक्ट कर लें और उसको हम बाद में हम यूज कर लें, so this we call rainwater harvesting. So collecting rainwater and store it for the later use is called rainwater harvesting. So next is the basic idea. So the basic idea behind rainwater harvesting is catch water where it falls. तो रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग का बेसिक आइडिया क्या है? जहां भी पानी गिर रहा है उसको इकट्ठा कर लो, कैच कर लो. So catch water where it falls. What happens to the rainwater that falls in places that are mostly covered with concrete roads and buildings? So what happens to the rainwater that falls in places जहाँ पे बहुत सारे roads हैं, जहाँ पे बहुत सारे buildings हैं, वहाँ पे रेन वाटर का क्या होता है? वो उसको absorb कर लेते हैं and it flows down into the drains From where it goes, this water goes into the rivers or lakes. A lot of effort will then be required to get these water back into our homes as the water did not seep into the ground. अगर हमारा सरफेस रोड जो है हमारे ईंटों वाला है, तो उसको पानी वो एब्जॉर्ब नहीं करेगा और वो पानी कहाँ चला जाएगा, हमारा रिवर्स में और लेक्स में. और रिवर्स और लेक्स से पानी को हमें घर तक लाना, इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट. So there are two techniques to collect rainwater. First is rooftop rainwater harvesting. In this system, rainwater is collected from the rooftop to a storage tank. So when rain comes, so these rain through pipes in this storage tank. This is our storage tank. This is our storage tank, and where these are storage tank where water is stored, where rainwater, this is our rainwater, and when rain comes, this water is collected in these storage tanks through these pipes. These water may contain soil from the roof. As we know, when these rainwater falls on the roof, then these may contain soil, and this is impure water. Instead of collecting rainwater in the tank, the pipes can go directly into a pit in the ground. So या तो हमें इसको हम स्टोरेज टैंक में हम कलेक्ट कर सकते हैं पानी को, और या हम इसको सीधा नीचे गड्ढे में ले जा सकते हैं और ये सीधा कहाँ चला जाएगा, ग्राउंड में. These then seeps into the soil to recharge groundwater. So one method is to add water into the storage tank, and second method is to directly go into the pit. Second method is directly go into the pit. Another option is to allow water into the ground directly from the roadside drains that collect rainwater. So there are two ways of collecting rainwater. First is directly it goes into the storage tank, either it goes into the pit. Second method is to directly allow the water into the ground through the roadside drains. So I will show rainwater harvesting with the help of slides. I'm showing. So what are the I'm showing with the help of slides. So what are rooftop rainwater harvesting and what are the ways of rainwater harvesting? I will show with the help of these slides. So these are rooftop rainwater harvesting. On the roof, rainwater is collecting. On the roof, rainwater is collecting here. So on the roof, rain comes, when rainwater is collecting, then it goes into the storage tank. Because this is impure water, then it will go into the filter. After filter, we get the pure water. Then it will go again to the storage tank. And then this is the complete process. On the roof, rainwater come then it goes into the storage tank. It contains soil particles, and then it goes into the filter. Then it is our pure water. In this storage tank, this is pure water, and then we can use it in many ways. Then it goes into our house, and then we can use these type of water for any uses. So next method is when we go the first method में हमने क्या था, बारिश का पानी कहाँ जा रहा था, हमारा स्टोरेज टैंक में. और दूसरा मेथड क्या है हमारा, या तो हमने एक पिट गड्ढा खोद के इसको डायरेक्टली रूफ के जो भी बारिश का पानी है इसके अंदर डाल देंगे और ये कहाँ चला जाएगा, ये ग्राउंड में. फर्स्ट मेथड था हमारा स्टोरेज टैंक में जाने का, सेकंड मेथड था हमारा गड्ढा खोदेंगे, गड्ढा खोदे में के सीधा इसमें बारिश का पानी चला जाएगा इसमें। और इसके बाद थर्ड मेथड क्या है, इसके बाद जो भी हमारा थर्ड मेथड हमारा क्या है, पिट की बजाय हम डायरेक्टली हम इसको जो भी हमारे ड्रेन से पानी आता है, जो हमारा यहाँ से ड्रेन जहाँ पे रेन का पानी आ रहा है और ड्रेन्स में जाएगा, और ड्रेन का पानी सीधा कहाँ जाएगा, ग्राउंड में। और दूसरा मेथड यहाँ पे है, या तो इसको हम स्टोर करके रख लेंगे, या तो हम रेन वाटर को इसमें स्टोरेज टैंक में स्टोर करेंगे, या नालियों में जो पानी जा रहा है, ड्रेन्स में जो पानी जा रहा है, वो सीधा हमारा कहाँ चल जाएगा, ग्राउंड में। So these are the ways to conserve water. So these are the ways to conserve water. So I will show the water cycle with the help of these. So these are our clouds, and these are the mountains on which water comes. When the sunlight comes, these ice melts. So these ice melts, and when these ice melts, then due to evaporation, it will change into the water vapor. And then after these, they form the cloud. And when clouds become heavy, it comes on the earth's surface as a rain. So this is the process of water cycle. So this is the process of water cycle. When on the mountains, the ice melts, and due to evaporation, it goes in the air, and they form the cloud. And then when these clouds become heavy, they come on the earth's surface as rain. So this is the phenomena of water cycle. So this is the phenomena of water cycle. So this is our water cycle, the circulation of water between our surface and between the groundwater is called, in some basic terms, first is evaporation. When water is converted into water vapor, when we boil water, then water is changing into water vapor. When water is changing into water vapor, this is called evaporation. Next is, ये जो हमारे तालाब है क्यों सूख जाते हैं, because of evaporation. And when clothes dry fast in the summer, because evaporation depends on the amount of heat. So ये clothes हमारे क्यों dry हो रहे हैं, because of